Hi, I'm Susie Potter.
And I'm Ruby Claire.
And this is
The Love Allegiance.
In this video, we have something special for you guys today. We are going to focus on self-love. And in particular,
the inner child.
Yes. In previous videos, you may have heard us talk about the multidimensionality of love. Starting with self-love, what we're focusing on today, then moving into
interpersonal, and then moving out to community and the broader world and humanity, and then moving beyond that into the source of all things, beyond humanity and the spiritual.
Yeah. So today, let's have some fun.
Yeah. So, Susie.
Yeah.
How does the inner child develop?
Well, from a psychological perspective, right? If we look at when we're a kid, right? That's the most critical time period, right? Because it's where we are discovering the world for the first time, and we are like sponges picking up all this information from our caregivers and from the people around us. And that experience of the world at that time, it kind of sticks with you as you begin to mature, going through adolescence and then adulthood and elderly life. So, it's something that kind of just stays with you in your body and informs you all throughout. Right?
Yeah. So don't be fooled. The people that are false gurus or whatever, they might be like, I'm so enlightened, I don't have wounds anymore. Or I don't, have an inner child. It's there no matter how enlightened you get. You will feel it your whole life. So you might as well learn to be with it, and that's what this video is about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the inner child it really ties into self-love because it's really about self-parenting, right? As you were saying, Ruby, like sometimes when we try to overcome or transcend, right, the inner child, we may find that we are really mean to ourselves, right? Like, I tend to have this like drill sergeant attitude with myself, or we may engage in destructive behavior, right? Drugs, sex addiction, anything like that tends to numb the inner child rather than
anything to numb or dismiss that voice we don't want to attend to, because it's really uncomfortable. I can speak a bit about my inner child, so maybe you'll get a sense for what it can look like. It's fun to give a name to your inner child, to get to know it and kind of see what qualities it has. I used to feel left out a lot as a little girl, and I used to feel a bit isolated and misunderstood, and not really seen or heard for who I really was. And part of that was me. I didn't know how to communicate who I was. But so I developed an inner child that's very much kind of like Quasimodo. If you've watched The Hunchback of Notre Dame, I like to call it Quasimodo because it's this kind of like, I feel like an outcast, and I feel like I need to go hide away, and like I want to be a part of community and society and hang out with other people and be social, but I'm like, nobody gets me, nobody understands me, and it's this like self-pity, like kind of sad character, and he never goes away, So I've learned how to be with that part of myself, and when I feel that, and And I typically feel it right here. So no matter how rational or practical my mind is seeing a situation and seeing I'm obviously not being excluded, I might still feel the emotion that I am. And in those moments, it's important for me to hold that and be like, oh, Quasimodo, I love you. You know, like, we can hang out a bit alone, you know, but let's not overindulge in it. Like, we'll have a little time hanging out in the darkness under the covers or under the blanket, you know, for maybe like 20 minutes. But past that, I'm just then perpetuating that voice and I'll hide my whole life. So I have to like give it love, ask it what it needs, attend to it, and then be like a healthy parent that's like, okay, now let's go out and talk to people and meet people and see how well, you know, I can engage in community. So that's one of my experiences, but I want to hear a bit about kind of what you do.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And, you know, as you're talking, I'm here relating and vibing off of you. And, you know, part of what you're speaking to me sounds like really meeting that inner child character or archetype or identity within you, where it's at. So if your inner child is feeling, you know, outcasted or wounded or hurt, you know, really meeting that energy, you know, what would you do to a child that's right in front of you that's crying, you know? I mean, you could say really kind of shut them down and tell them stop crying, and maybe some parenting styles include that. But when we do that, what are we doing? We're not allowing that child to express themselves, right? So we want to meet that with compassion. You want to meet yourself with compassion, right? Hold yourself, right? Allow yourself to feel those emotions, because you don't want to numb them either. Mm-hmm. But also spend that time by yourself or whatever it is that you need to do to allow that emotion to kind of pass through. And I can totally relate to the outcast and feeling misunderstood and just really wanting to be accepted, right, for who I am. And we live in a world in which I'm not always accepted, you know. In fact, a lot of parts of my personality and my identity are rejected in mainstream, you know, in our culture. So I have to live with that and I have to be okay with it. And part of that is acknowledging that it makes me feel like really bad sometimes. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. And another part of this can be play. We were talking about this yesterday. Like another aspect of my inner child, I notice if I'm working a lot, very intellectual, not in my body, I hear this voice inside of me that's like, I want to play. And like, I have to listen to that and like let myself play. So that, you know, that might mean like running around the yard and acting all goofy, or like playing a song in my car and singing, you know, outrageously and making faces, you know. But you know, letting yourself play and letting yourself figure out what play means to you. Because as we grow up as adults, we start seeing play through these blinders of like, it means drinking, it means, you know, taking substances with people and partying. But, you know, play is much more complex than that. And I think a lot of us have forgotten what play means. So start to ask yourself, what did you do when you were a little kid? How did you play then? And how can you incorporate some of that into your day now, even if it's just for 5 minutes?
Yes. More play, more fun, because, I mean, as we grow older, you know, we get more and more boxed in our ideas of play, as Ruby was saying, and so playing becomes kind of taboo. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. Well, it takes a little bit of, I guess, courage or a commitment to yourself, commitment to self-love, right? To incorporate play in a way that's genuine and actually effective for you, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. So overall, we just wanted to sum it up and let you know that, if you're a human being, in a human body, despite how much spiritual work you've done, you will have an inner child forever. So it's part of the work, to love it. And that's a huge, huge part of the work, because the more you attend to and love your inner child, the more you're going to be able to love people in interpersonal relationships and feel compassion on a broader level for humanity. So tune in for our next videos. We're going to be talking about the extreme of me consciousness, me, and the extreme of we, and bringing them together into what we're stepping into as a collective, which is neither extreme.
Absolutely. And remember to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, and I'd love to hear, what does your inner child love to do to play? Comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fuck her buttons,
buttons all down her back. She asked her mother for 50 cents to see the elephant jump over the fence. He jumped so high, he reached the sky, and never came back till the 4th of July.